Where is your emergency?
Yes, ma'am. This is off-duty Deputy with the Yavapai County Sheriff's Office.
Yes.
Currently down here at the Roadrunner. Better bring you about 6 or 7 deputies, if not a dozen, in New River. I got a white male individual laying down, bleeding profusely out of his face and chest. I don't know if he's got stab wounds.
Where is he laying down? In the parking lot? In the building?
In the parking lot. Yes, ma'am.
On July 25th, 2015, at the Roadrunner Bar and Saloon, which is in New River, Roman Fernandez Sr. and his family, to include his wife, children, and grandson, went to the rodeo there at the Roadrunner because his grandson was participating in the mutton busting competition.
My name is Dawn Fernandez, and I am Roman's wife. That particular night, we decided we were all going to go as a family. But the babies were getting tired, and we decided that we would come back at a different time when we didn't have the babies or whatever. As we were walking out to the parking lot, I said to my husband, I said, well, how about if we just take the grandbabies home and get them ready for bed and let our son and daughter-in-law stay and watch the adult bull riding, and they can pick the babies up later. And my husband would never tell me no when it came to the grandbabies. Oh boy, here they come. And as we got closer to the car, when we got to the car, he said he'd like to stay with our son and daughter-in-law because he was just going to come home and sit on the couch while I got the kids ready for bed. So I said, okay, that sounds fun. And I said, I'll see you when you get home. And I kissed him goodbye. And I remember watching him walk to the door, right? Not knowing it was going to be the last time I'd see him.
Around 8:30 or so, the wife and some of the children and grandchildren decided to go home, leaving Roman Fernandez Sr., his son, and his daughter-in-law to stay there to enjoy the rest of the rodeo and to just relax, to have a good time. Just after midnight, so on the 26th, there was a confrontation that started to occur in the bar with some of the patrons there. Roman Fernandez Sr. actually tried to help and calm things down, kind of de-escalate some things. Unfortunately, he became involved in the confrontation, which turned physical. And during the physical confrontation, multiple people were involved. A large fight breaks out, including people with employees, some patrons, even people from the rodeo, all started to fight. During the confrontation, Mr. Fernandez was stabbed, escorted out to the front of the establishment, to the parking lot, where he unfortunately later died from his injuries. His son and his daughter-in-law eventually found him out front, started to render aid to him the best they could, along with deputies. When deputies arrived, they were able to render aid, but the mass chaos that was going on there, to include some of the people still fighting, still arguing, deputies had to split their duties until the fire department arrived, and unfortunately Mr. Fernandez was pronounced deceased shortly thereafter. The homicide unit was called in because obviously it was a homicide. I was the case agent at the time, brought in with another 5 detectives. Throughout the day we processed the scenes, talked to multiple people, and for the next few years talked to well over 80, I have doing 80 interviews, actually close to 90 now, and multiple people were re-interviewed, to include the employees of the bar, the owners of the bar, the manager, the securities at the bar, quite a few patrons. There was a lot of regulars there, a few people that have come and gone. It turned out that there was some off-duty law enforcement was there, had to track them down, and unfortunately a lot of red herrings or false leads took up a lot of time as well. We reached out to the public trying to get some tips. We've received, off the top of my head, probably well over 40 tips, tracked all those down. Unfortunately, at this time, the case is still unsolved, but still very actively being investigated by the homicide unit. The Maricopa County Medical Examiner's Office ruled Roman Fernandez Sr.'s death a homicide due to multiple stab wounds. The investigation is still going. It's ongoing. It doesn't collect dust. Everything that comes in, whether it's myself, I have fantastic detectives that work for me now with the homicide unit, that they chase any lead down, any information, because we all want to seek justice in this case. What I'd like to ask of the community is any information that they hear of, please call into either Silo Witness, which there is a reward of $1,000, or into Silo, which would also give them the reward. Any information that leads to any kind of conviction or judicial process for this homicide. Like I said, my entire philosophy in the homicide that I was taught when I first started was I would rather have any information given to me, even if it's far-fetched, not much there. I'd rather chase it down to a dead end rather than no information from the community. The community is a huge partner for us in any investigation we do, especially in the homicide unit. And something like this, where there was multiple people there, and I know people talk, especially in a smaller town like New River, that there is information out there and that people do know things. So I'll just ask them just to, whether it's anonymous or they'd like to be spoken to by a detective, just come forward, call us up, give us all the information you can, and we'll track it down. Roman Fernandez Sr. was the patriarch of his family. He was a very loved husband by his wife. His children looked up to him. He was kind of their hero, or a great father figure. And he had a grandson who unfortunately is almost 10 years older now than when things happened. Again, very well liked by the community. I know it's got to be very frustrating. It's frustrating for me as well. Most investigators who've been on for at least a few years all have a case that bothers them, that they can't solve and they want it solved. Unfortunately, this is my case. I've had it when I was a detective, I had it when I was a sergeant, and now as a lieutenant, I still oversee things that as long as I wear the badge or people who are involved in this, we want to solve this case. I know it's out there. I know there's information out there, and the person that did do this, they know and they should know that we're not going to give up, and at some point they will be found liable and they'll be held to justice.
I'm pleading with the public. We have a lot of circumstantial evidence. We have some prime suspects, but we don't have enough evidence to bring anybody to justice. If you have any knowledge, if you know anything about this night, I would just ask them to please come forward. Please share whatever information you have, even if you think it's insignificant, to call and share, because it could lead to something bigger. It could connect the dots that we need. I just want justice, which we don't have.
If you or anyone you know has any information that could lead to the arrest of a suspect in the case of Roman Fernandez, please contact the Maricopa County Sheriff's Office tip line at 602-876-8477 or email tips@mcso.maricopa.gov.